Hello, comrades. Welcome back to Jacob's Custom Gunworks. Today, I have a PSA AK 101 in 5.56 for you today. Going to be a tabletop review. It's been cold, snowy, and shitty out, so unfortunately, we're doing some tabletops. But I felt this video was long overdue, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. We're going to go ahead and start with some of the differences in the AK calibers that you see today. These are three of the most common ones you see. Very left-hand side, you have 5.45 by 39, this guy here, 5.56, of course, and then 7.6239. At one point in time, this was the cheaper caliber, the 5.45 by 39, but due to conflicts in other parts of the world, it has become increasingly hard to find and very expensive. 5.56, of course, is what we're talking about today, and then the 7.62 by 39, also in the cheap ammunition, has been harder to find, and a lot of places are trying to charge you at the nose for it. So our alternative is 5.56, which nothing wrong with. I'm going to go ahead and move back to the gun. We'll go ahead and start at the muzzle. So these are AK-74 style muzzle brakes and thread pitches. I want to say the thread pitch is 24 by 1.5 right hand, if memory serves me correctly. This one here that's on it is the Manticore brake that I got. I think I got this brake about the same time I got the gun. This had really good reviews on recoil mitigation and keeping the gun fairly flat. I understand this is a 5.56 AK, so there's not a ton of recoil to begin with, but I wanted it as flat as humanly possible to get the scope dialed in without any, trying to alleviate the shooter as an error. That was my mindset. This brake works, again, fantastically well. I can tell you it is extremely loud. It's kind of got like a bird cage roll around all the way around, except for the very bottom there. It kind of stops with the last two little notches down there. Very, very, very loud, almost to the point where if you're shooting in an enclosed area, you will need double ear pro. So that's just to consider when getting this Manticore brake. And a 7.6239, I think this would probably be more beneficial, but it worked for me and I figured what the hell. This is the brake that they come with. It is an AK-74 brake. They do a fantastic job of keeping the muzzle from rising, but this Manticore works even better. I probably won't use either one of these brakes, and this gun is going to go through a little bit of a transformation, so I'll keep you posted on that. Okay, moving along. We do have the Magpul AKM style furniture. Of course, this is because of the sling mount here. So this little area comes down and clears it so you can get your sling mount and sling mounted. The sling is an NC Star sling, I believe. These are relatively cheap. They're like 10 bucks. The only thing to note is these dog collars here. They can be difficult. This one's really, really tight to get into some of these notches and these sling mounts of some of these AKs. This 101 was an example of that. Moving along to your grip, we have the Plus style grip from Magpul. This is like a Hogue rubbery style grip. I like them. And then, of course, the flat dark earth buttstock as well. I'm going to switch this furniture out. I actually have another kit on order, and I'm going to do something a little different with this gun that hopefully will make me shoot it more. Moving on, we have the scope and the scope mount. The scope itself is a Monstrum. I think this is either a G2 or an early G3 LPVO. If I have the acronym backwards, I apologize. These have quarter-inch clicks on them, or excuse me, half-inch clicks on them, which on an AK platform is fine. This is a circle dot reticle. It's not my favorite reticle, but it does work, like I say, for an AK. When I was selling these, when I was back at the retail business, I sold a lot of these, and I installed them on AKs and ARs, and guys liked them, so I don't think there's anything wrong with it. Another buddy of mine, of course, Steve from the Montana Musings Outdoor channel, he just did a review on one of his. He liked it as well. He had it on an AR platform, it looked like. And like I say, Monstrum makes some decent stuff for an inexpensive price. Moving back down, we have a mount, of course, a scope mount. This is also a Monstrum mount. This is a knockoff of the Midwest Industries mount that I have seen in the past. Of my aftermarket AK mounts, this is the straightest one I have. And what I mean is, when you're looking at this mount, and almost every one of these aftermarket mounts that I've dealt with, especially cheap ones, they have a cant. So on top of your Picatinny rail, you'll be canted to the right. So you'll be moved over this direction. And when you're running a magnified optic, that really defeats the purpose of it because you'll never actually get it straight in line and you'll be chasing rounds. With the red dots and closer distances, that may not be as big of a deal, but just keep in mind when you mount one of these mounts onto your AK, check for your count. Most of the time they lean to the right. If it's leaning to the right, you may have to break out your sledgehammer and move it over a little bit, or get another mount. Alright, so let's flip this guy over, because I got a couple other things to show you. One of the things I forgot to mention is this AK-101 does not have the side folding stock. As you can see, there'd be a button here you'd press, and you can move it to the left, well, back over to the left, and fold it. This is the fixed version of it. If you go onto PSA's site, and which I was just there this morning, they have the side folder one as well. Mine, I decided to switch this out and get this notched out safety lever so I can lock the bolt back in place, and then of course show clear if I need to, and then work on the gun without completely disassemble it if I need to. I really like these. They're pretty effortless to release from here. I'll go ahead and do that. Of course I say that. There we go. Hard to do with one hand. A little easier to do than some of them, so acts as a bolt release. It's kind of neat. I like them, like I say. The other thing I've got for you is the magazine. So these magazines here, these are AC Unity magazines. These are a copy of the Circle 10 magazine, and they work pretty well. There is a last round hold open, of course, bolt hold open right there, built into the follower. It is metal reinforced. I do have some thoughts about whether or not that will withstand over a period of time, because of course the rest of this is plastic. So far so good. Admittedly, I have not put a ton of ammunition through this gun. I've probably put a couple hundred rounds through it since I've got it. And of the AKs in 5.56 that I have shot, this one shoots really well. I know there are guys that like PSA, there are guys that don't. There are alternatives to the PSA as well. There's the Century BFT in 5.56 that just recently come out. It is built on an RPK style receiver. It's a heavier receiver. It's 1.5 mil instead of 1 mil. Of course, your trade-off is weight. There's some other reviews on it as well, but I personally have had good luck with my PSA, and I like their products. I think they've come a long way in their AK platform from where they started. But that being said, that's all I got for you today. Hopefully the next one is actually range time. Until next time, comrades.